Hello everyone, I am Tacit, and today I'm going to be going over the Gems of War Forgotten Realm event in which the Craghound is added to the game, but more importantly, of course, we have a billion things going on this week, with a lot of it bringing in version 6.4, so of course we had that patch last week that ended up doing some things like blurring in Legends Reborn, of which we'll have the first event for that on August 1st, as well as some rework to the visual style of the quest lines in anticipation for the Legends Reborn, as it is based around kingdoms coming back, and as you saw with the newer kingdom, it has a little bit of a different visual style, which is pretty cool. And aside from that, it just did a bunch of other general bug fixes, so not too much there, and the two achievements that end up coming in will be available on August 1st when it ends up coming around. However, of course, the bigger thing that we have going on that technically came in through the patch is the new kingdom of Hellcrag. This kingdom ended up coming in yesterday and is pretty good. It is a pure construct kingdom, pretty heavily based around gargoyle gems, and has a really strong hero class coming in this Friday. So let's start and go over the troop, and then we'll start going over pretty much everything else that ended up coming in through the kingdom, most of which is available in event key drop table, however not all of it. However, I will go over where all of it is. For example, Craghound is available for glory this week. As far as what it does, not really that good. It just deals damage to 2 random enemies and then creates 3 evil gargoyle gems, has no extra turn follow-up. You'll probably use it in something like Arena, but probably won't be using it much outside of that. It does have 50% score reduction, however most of these things that are coming in with these constructs do have 50% score reduction, so you wouldn't really be running this compared to those other options. So the event key drop table this week is a bit interesting, as there's actually not that much in the drop table. If we go over to here, actually I might as well just show through the event keys. Might as well. We can go spend 50 real quick. So here's everything currently in the event key drop table, because we can easily see it with only 50. There's this legend and no other one, only him. The Trinobog. We have the Herald of Torpor, which you also get a copy of for free from completing out the storyline. The Craghound, which we just showed, of course, you can get it for glory. The Petrified Golem, and the Hellstone Gate. Keep in mind, you can also get these from Glory Gem Guild and VIP chests. However, doing it through event keys this week is the best way of getting a lot of them if you want to go and max them out completely. Keep in mind, because the Mythic for this kingdom is not coming out until the first Friday of next month, in a couple weeks, so we do not currently have any chance of getting a Mythic. So do be mindful of that, as there's currently a 0% chance you will get a Mythic from opening up keys here. Aside from that, here's the full breakdown of all the troops here. This we end up getting from the Journey event, as we do have the 3rd Journey event this week. You basically have to use it on your team in order to get your extra bit of bonus. It's actually pretty good. It deals damage to an enemy and then creates 3 brown gems, boosted by how many constructs there are on your team. This means by default it's going to be creating 6, because it itself is a construct and can end up creating as high as 15 if your entire team is construct, which is generally going to be your team whenever you're using it, with a construct hero class that comes out this Friday. It also has 50% score reduction, which is pretty nice, and has a 25% chance of summoning a Mephit, which is actually a troop we're not getting until the 5th week of the campaign for the new kingdom. And this will end up coming out that Friday for the bounty event in 5 weeks from now, all the way to the final week of the campaign. Craghound, we already went over. It is available for glory and event keys. This one is available in Glory Gem Guild VIP chests, as the 5 that were in event keys are, as well as in event keys. This thing's actually pretty good. It's basically brown Gorgotha. Well, Gorgotha's also brown, but it's a brown spammier version, as it has perpetual brown storm. It doesn't have as much score reduction, only having 50% instead of 75%. However, it ends up creating a bunch of brown and exploding out the board. So it does random gems similar to that of Gorgotha. It doesn't have the cleanse, but does end up creating some brown. Those browns do not end up getting matched with each other. However, it does give a decent amount of mana accumulation. Overall, really great utility troop, and you're mostly using it as a Gorgotha with brown storm, essentially. Ethereal's Sentinel actually comes out today through the pass. As far as what it does, it's going to be pretty decent. It freezes a random enemy, creates 3 gargoyle gems, which means either the good ones or the bad ones. The good ones apply positive status effects to all your allies, and negative ones apply negative status effects to all enemies. And the main thing that makes it viable is it has auto extra turn there. Also has 50% score reduction. Keep in mind, this one is not available in Glory Gem Guild or VIP chest, nor event keys. Is only available through the paid pass. The 3 that are currently money locked here, or technically 4 of them, are pretty much all the ones grayed out, actually. Literally every single one grayed out, because the 5 that are from event keys and from the standard key drop table, Craghound, the Trinobog, the Hellstone, the Herald of Torpor, and the Petrified Golem. Then we have the Chaldini, or Chalcedony, which we have specifically from the Miles event, from the Journey event. And then the 4 that are paywalled are Eternal Sentinel, Nabasu, the Tower, and the Zenith. You will be able to get 1 copy a little bit later of the Eternal Sentinel and Nabasu during this 5-week period. However, the Tower and Zenith will be locked out for a couple months if you're going completely free to play, or all the way near the end of the pass on the paid side. Might as well go show that right now as well. So basically, during this 5-week period, you'll be able to go and get progress on this pass. Even if you're doing the free side, it is highly advised to complete it out, as this weapon last time around became a $5 money locked weapon. However, you do have access to getting it for free right now, so it is advised to do so, even if you're just going on the free side. Aside from that, the paid side ends up giving all those troops that we just went over fully maxed. You get 1 copy of all of them except for the Zenith on the free side. You also get 1 additional weapon on the paid side as well, which is this weapon right over somewhere's here. I believe it's towards the middle. Did I pass it? No, it's this one. It's a pretty useless weapon, though, just because it's basically an explodey weapon that isn't good, because half the time it's just going to create 4 gargoyle gems with no other follow-up, which isn't really that good, especially for a 14 mana cost, especially when that other thing basically does it for 11 with auto extra turn. There really isn't much of an instance where you end up using it. But overall, there's a few good things, just like the Zenith. You get a bit of resources, some deep books, all that in there. It's $8 if you do end up wanting to get it. However, the free side still gives you pretty much everything except the weapon that you can get at a later time, the Zenith, which you can get at a later time, and you don't get everything maxed, so you do get at least 1 copy of it so that you can have it, but everything similar to how it was for that of the Nexus Kingdom will be available completely free to play. You just have to get it at a later time, so you're not really missing out on much if you don't end up getting it. You're just kind of getting early access to some of the other features. You can also use gems and money to speed this up. However, I highly advise not to. The main way that you get this done is every single day you can end up getting up to 10 crowns. Easiest way to get these crowns is just go to anywhere where you would normally farm gnomes, specifically just using, quick kill Rowan team, quick kill Dust Devil team, anything like that will end up giving these crowns. I'm gonna go do a few of them. Oh, there we go, perfect. I was gonna say, I'm gonna go do a few of them until I see one of them. However, there you see it. Very first battle, we end up getting one. You just kill it very quick. And there's 1 of our crowns. You can do 10 of those per day. However, keep in mind it is capped to 10 per day. You cannot get more than 10 per day. And 10 per day will be enough to get 2 tiers, which is why I say Eternal Sentinel actually came out today. I haven't actually done those 10 yet, as we just got the first one right there of those 10. However, it is available today on the paid side there. But you can get 10 of those per day, and you just slowly get it done. It only takes about 25 days, and it lasts for 3 weeks, which is 35 days. So it's basically 10 whole days, 100 whole points of leeway. So you do have a little bit of leeway there as far as how much you end up needing to get it all done. Anyways, so let's go into the rest of the troops. We're kind of just going over them and then going into the other thing. Hellstone Gate is basically like Fortress Gate, except slightly better, but you're basically never going to use it, similar to Fortress Gate. Instead of just having Impervious as a Pervious plus Stone Skin, also gets Barrier to Daemons. However, you're never really going to use it compared to other options, as it's just too bad. Even in a pure Daemon team, even if they have 50%, you probably still wouldn't end up using it. Hero to Torpor, one thing that's kind of noteworthy about him, as well as the Mythic that's going to be coming, they're both Daemon Knight instead of Construct. Pretty much every single thing in his kingdom is Construct, with the exception of this and the Mythic, and I think maybe one other that will be coming in. However, these two are not specifically constructs, which do make them a little bit weaker in the context of the kingdom and just in general, as this is a very heavy construct kingdom that will have really good synergy with the construct hero class that will come in this Friday. However, something like this you cannot end up utilizing for it. Ends up destroying a row, eliminates a bunch of attack from the first 2 enemies, and is boosted by purple gems destroyed. Overall, there's pretty much no context you'll ever use it, as there are better options for destroying out the enemy attack, either by reducing it at a higher amount with other troops or simply using the Entangle mechanic. So you're pretty much never going to end up using that. So as far as Nubasu, pretty useless. Probably only going to use it in Arena, and beyond that, probably never really get much usage. Steals 10 armor from an enemy, and then deals some light splash damage, which does damage to whatever you target and 25% to adjacents. Overall, doesn't have anything special for it, and will just not really be used. Next, we have Petrified Golem, which, however, will be used. This mechanic kind of already exists within the game. It's a barrier option that can end up burying your entire team. It explodes a gem, buries a random ally for each brown gem destroyed. There's already a few mechanics that exist in this fashion. However, it is the lowest mana cost out of everything that has a barrier mechanic like this, making it the most accessible way to 4x barrier. It also being the rare makes it even easier. So this is going to be a great way for newer players to be able to place barrier onto your team, as well as if you just need a super cheap option and you want to try incorporating into your team. So has some potential, going to be relatively slow, but if you need something to help you survive on a given team, could maybe be worthwhile. The tower is basically going to be useless, as the bounty hunter troop that we're getting on the 5th week of the campaign pass, or I should say the kingdom pass. The gargoyle that we're getting that Friday through bounty hunter in a couple weeks from now, all the way at the end, is basically this but better. so you're not really ever going to use this. The other Gargoyle creates a Gargoyle gem with an auto extra turn, and while it does it with 9 mana instead of 6, it is the fact that it has auto extra turns is going to make it way better. So you're pretty much never going to be using this in comparison, and it has all the stuff a tarot card would normally have, which is pretty much all useless. However, something that is not useless though is Zenith. So Zenith be kind of interesting once free to play players end up getting it, because paid players will also be able to, you know, easily get a second copy of it. And Zenith will generally be ran with 2 copies. The main reason for this is his main gimmick is that he ends up creating a bunch of Doom Skulls based on how many evil Gargoyle gems are on the board, and getting specifically evil is something that isn't that good to boost ratio off of. However, one thing that actually makes this insanely good is the fact that he creates an evil Gargoyle gem whenever matching for an extra turn. So if you had 2 of them on your team, every extra turn you take, you're going to be creating 2 of them. That means if you take 2 extra turns and you end up casting this ability, he will not only be able to create a 17 Doom Skull, but he's also most likely going to destroy at least a few of those evil Gargoyle gems. So you'll be getting a bunch of negative status effects onto the opposing team. This will basically make him like an AoE Essence of Evil that does Skull spam instead of mana accumulation. Though keep in mind, you still will be mana accumulating some as Doom Skulls do explode. So it'd be kind of interesting to see exactly how this pans out, as it has potential to be very, very strong. However, if you're building him into your team, your whole team kind of has to commit into his mechanic. So there is that as a downside. However, it's going to be pretty strong as a Skull spammer, and might be among one of the better Doom Skull spammers in the entire game. And it's also a construct, so you can also use it with Lord or Slaughter, which if I'm not mistaken has no mana conflict with it, or maybe on red. Yeah, it might have 1 mana conflict on it, but you can end up doing it with Lord or Slaughter, which will have huge synergy, and you can end up doing it with Construct Hero class, which Lord or Slaughter is construct, Zenith is construct, so this thing has a lot of potential to be really good. I'm really curious to see how it will end up panning out. So yeah, that's all that. Next, let's go into the Journey event. So, of course, we do have a Journey event, as well as a Guild War event. We have everything going on this week. We'll have a video going up pretty soon going over all the Guild War teams as well, that we end up doing when we got a perfect Guild War the previous Guild Wars. We are actually currently Paragon, and we end up getting pretty much perfect score. As long as you score like 9,500 plus per day, I would kind of consider that perfect score, though it is technically possible to get closer to 9,600. But yeah, don't forget to do everything related to Guild War. But of course, we have Journey event. This is the 3rd time Journey has popped around. Keep in mind, there is an achievement for Journey. If you get 20,000 miles in one Journey event, you can end up getting that achievement. It's a little hard to do as far as how many tiers you have to end up buying. However, now would be the time to do it. Actually, now would not be the time to do it, as the restriction for this event is construct. And one thing that will actually be a little bit easier is you might notice, like for this team and the teams that we're going to show in the description below, that you can go copy paste and all that for the week. They are currently set to a Titan. However, the Construct Hero class is coming out this Friday for something like this will be substantially stronger. However, it doesn't come out till this Friday, so I can't really show it right now. However, if you really want to go for 20,000 this week because you don't have the achievement, it is potentially worth considering waiting until Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to go do your Journey event. While your guild might already be done by then, it will make it so you have to spend less time going for leaderboard. You might be able to save an entire hour trying to go for 20,000 compared to doing it without the new hero classes coming out this Friday. So if you want to min-max your time with that, you might just want to wait till the weekend, assuming you have time to do it this weekend if you want to go for 20,000. But basically, the way that you play this is a pretty straightforward mode. It could be basically broken down to take whatever number is bigger. That's basically all you have to do. There is sometimes a stat difference. They can end up getting like HP, and a bunch of other things, magic attack. However, for the most part, whatever thing has a higher mile number, you just click on that and you move forward and just fight as you normally would with whatever team you're using. So a lot more straightforward than the pathing you would normally have for something like Underworld. So just keep taking the bigger number, and that's pretty much all you have to do for Journey event. You just keep doing that until you have all your points for your guild, or all the points to make the achievement, which you need 20,000 for. So whatever one you're aiming to go and do with that. Anyways, as far as other things that we have going on throughout the week, we do have a faction event going on today for the Fire Rift, of course. This is a brown-red restriction, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. So we can end up doing that for a bit of the standard rewards, of course. This Wednesday, we end up having a new pet, a construct pet. This will be very useful for a lot of things this week. Not only is the Journey event restricted to construct, but pretty much the entirety of the new kingdom is construct. So we'll be able to get a lot of value there, as a lot of teams will now start running 4 times construct. And this Friday, we have a, well, you may notice we have no Thursday event. Whenever there's a new hero class on Friday, we don't have a Thursday event. So Thursday's going to be a little bit tamer for once. However, this Friday, we're going to be getting a brand new class, and we'll be doing a stream pretty much as soon as it launches, going over that hero class and getting it almost maxed, and then finishing out the rest on the weekend. However, it's pretty strong. We did a tier list the other week and put it in S tier. It might be like Dragonian Monk. I mean, not Dragonian Monk. I mean Monk itself, on the Monk hero class, where it seemed like it was going to be insanely good, and then was, still good, but more situational than anticipated. That might end up being this class. However, I do still feel like it's going to be pretty strong. 50% mana start for constructs is pretty insane with a couple of combinations that exist, especially once we have the Zenith team and everything going. Lord of Slaughter, all that. So it'll be interesting to see exactly how it pans out. It has Barrier on Brown, has 50% score reduction, has 50% mana start to all constructs. Quite a few things going for it that are pretty viable. So we'll have to wait and see exactly how it pans out, but has potential to be among one of the tankiest hero classes, while giving a very vital 50% mana start to a specific typing that is kind of average currently, but will become very good after the 50% mana start. So that'll be pretty nice once that ends up coming in. Aside from that, we do have some Soulforge stuff to go over. As far as mythics that are worth crafting, I would say the overall strongest one is Sacrax, also a pretty good one for Guild War as well. As long as the enemy team doesn't have freeze, it's pretty good at looping on blue, green, and brown day. Wild Queen, while I have retired it, I believe, from most of my Guild War teams, actually, I don't think I use it on a single one these days. However, it is a pretty good Guild War option. The biggest issue is when she misses. However, when she doesn't miss, she can pretty consistently get a 9,600. There's a little bit of a high risk, high reward kind of troop. She has a good life steal, gives a bunch of attack to your first slot, and has looping capability. Biggest issue is when she misses or gets disabled by freeze. And Infernus, while not as high as a priority to get as in the past, he is a very well-rounded troop that has the best burn that isn't Zugoff, as well as a pretty well-rounded mana accumulation into damage poke. So he's a pretty average troop that is just well-rounded at a lot of things, which makes it a little bit weaker over time as mythics get more and more specialized into very specific purposes. However, he does a little bit of everything pretty viably, though, due to Zugoff and how overused and how much easier he is to get these days compared to in the past. He has become a little bit less viable, as one of his main gimmicks is being a really good burner, but Zugoff generally does that better in most contexts. Aside from that, we do have a couple weapons related to the New Kingdom. The most noteworthy one to end up getting is Aegis of Hellcrag. Last time around, this was actually money locked. You may have even seen a thing where it has a little bundle for it for like 10 bucks, which definitely is not worth getting. And then later on, you can kind of get it for 5. And then if it was anything like it was for Nexus, it would then be available for free like months after the fact. But for whatever reason, I'm not sure if it's a glitch or, you know, they just happened to intend to add it here. Yeah, you could just get the weapon in Soulforge, which is weird. Because last time around, this weapon didn't come around until like 7 months after the fact, as far as being able to get it for free, or, you know, these resources, which are basically free. But yeah, it's just sitting here right now, so definitely make sure to craft it. I'm still not sure if this is intended or not. However, it has been a whole day and it hasn't been removed, so I assume it's maybe intended, but in case it's not, get it. But I guess at this point, regardless if it's intended or not, they're just leaving it here, so definitely make sure to go and get it then. But anyways, let's go now into the teams. So of course, a bunch of stuff going on this week. We'll go over all the teams, and we'll have a separate video for once actually going over all the Guild War teams, as I do actually want to go over them, as is the teams we used to get a perfect score the other week, or for the 100th Guild War, so might as well show them again for the 101, since the meta hasn't really changed since then. But anyways, let's go over all the teams for everything else, all of which are in the description below if you want to copy paste any of them. First up here, we have the Chinnabog with the Doomed club. You could also end up replacing this with a Black Mandrake or some kind of other AoE weapon if you want to. We then have the Chalcedony, which we're using mostly for mana accumulation, but also because we kind of have to, because you get 3 times journey points. Keep in mind, unlike something like Bounty Hunter, where you need to use 4 bounty troops, you only need to use 1 Pathfinder, and using multiple of the Pathfinder does not give you more points. Simply just put 1 on your team and you're going to be good to go. And of course, we have a Gargoyle here. Gargoyle's actually really strong. Haven't been using him much because, you know, he's only a construct, so he hasn't had 50% mana start. However, he is this Friday, so he's going to become very viable. And of course, as with this one and the other team, you're going to want to change out the hero class for the construct hero class of the Geomancer coming out this Friday, if you happen to be doing it still by that point. Next one, we have a Black Manacle shift into more of a Gargoyle heavy team. Obviously, you have to use this troop as it is the Journey Captain. Black Manacle here, as I was mentioning, as a cheaper option of the other weapon, and we're doubling up on Gargoyle as it is a cheaper option to get in the Legend. However, the Legend is pretty easy to get, as it is the only Legend currently in the event key drop table this week, so the chance of you getting it after like 10-ish, 20-ish, 30-ish keys is pretty high, and you probably already have them laying around if you open some event keys earlier. Next, we have the Brown-Red restriction for the Fire Rift. You could run a pretty standard Guards Avatar, Surqua, and Hadley team for the Brown-Red restriction, run whatever mana accumulating weapon you want. Ends up working out pretty well. Harp Mage is basically second turn in power, because you'll have access to enchant. Next, we actually have one utilizing the new troop here. So, of course, this basically is Brown Gorgotha, or, you know, even heavier Brown Storm Gorgotha. So, he'll be used very similar as such is a first slot in most teams. There are some rare situations where you might use him a little bit further back, but similar to Gorgulfa, he's almost always going to be a first slot option. Main reason why you might want to use him further back is, unlike something like Gorgulfa, he does have a little bit of value of surviving a little bit longer, and then he has Perpetual Brownstorm. So if you want to end up countering out the enemy storm, or just make sure you keep the Brownstorm active, you can end up doing it that way. And just basically use Angry Mob as your standard mana accumulator, Hiking Iron gets to devour everything, and if you happen to have a Doomed Glaive, just to convert everything for a little bit of additional damage, as you get to convert all the browns that you're creating into a billion Doom Skulls to do a bunch of damage with. Next we have Purifaction. You can either use 4 of the Magma Dragon or 1 Fire Spirit with 3 Magma Dragons. The main gimmick they end up doing here is convert all the reds to, or sorry, all of the color to burning gems, which are basically the equivalent of red, and then you just keep spamming Magma Dragon until you win. You can also just go with 4 Magma Dragons, just kill them out that way, whatever way you want to end up doing it. He also has a red-brown storm, which synergizes pretty well with the fact that he boosts based on all red and brown gems on the board, which is exactly what his storm is creating, which is also the color that he uses. So ends up working out pretty well, and you just kind of kill it out with that. And of course, lastly, we have the Friday hero class event. You can basically just run a standard Black Manacle team as we were showing for the other one, or you can just end up going for more of a mana accumulation into Dustbringer. Dustbringer, of course, very rarely used in the current state of the game. However, this is one of those situations where you're probably going to have so much excess brown that you can end up getting away with it. But any standard AoE brown weapon, Black Manacle, Dustbringer, whatever you kind of want to use, will be perfectly fine to get you through the event. And that is pretty much the full rundown on that. But anyways, guys, if you still have any other questions, feel free to leave it in the comment section below. We definitely have a billion and a half things going on this week, that is for sure. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of some of the new troops from the new faction. Definitely looking forward most to the new hero class that we have this Friday, and as I mentioned, we will be streaming it as soon as it launches this Friday as well here on the channel. So if you want to see that, we'll be doing that then. Anyways, guys, we'll catch you later, and I hope you all have a wonderful week. Goodbye, everyone, and thanks for watching.